Ladies and gentlemen, I saw an article that shows that the South Korean pension fund, which is our CPF equivalent, is returning 20% return this year. Wow. Then our CPF return is only 2.5% and 4%. How come? How can? Wow. So I think a lot of people will share my sentiment. Today, I did a thorough research, and this is what I discovered across many countries. And let me unfold this whole disparity for you. Let's just watch on, shall we? So, why is our CPF return so bad and so unimpressive when compared to other countries' pension funds return? And this is where I will give you a report of an analysis that I've done with other countries' pension funds and what this number tells us across different places and so on. So, the whole spark of how I start this research is because I saw this article today that the South Korean pension fund is likely to post a record 20% gain in 2025. Wow. That's even higher than the S&P 500. So I certainly have a shock surprise when I take a look at this. If my CPF would have a 20% return, wow, that would really give me an additional easily, right? 5 more years of a wonderful retirement life. So I think it is unbelievable that a national pension fund can give such high returns. And of course, that sparked off the question of our CPF. So the obvious question I have, which if you are in my shoe, is if Korea can make 20%, why CPF is only paying 2.5 to 4%? So the question must have crossed your mind as much as it crossed my mind. So I did what other investors do. I checked the data. And well, the data source is true. But I think there are a lot of reasons behind. Let's just watch on, shall we? So I didn't just do Korea, I also did Canada, Australia, the Californian system as well, the Norwegian system, and I relook again at the Malaysian system as well with EPF. So Malaysian, please watch on because I also want to give you my frank analysis of the EPF system as well. Well, the shocking returns of many countries over the last 10 years are as follow. So Canada is about 9%. Really, over the last 10%, annualized is 9%. Australian funds is 8% annualized. Norwegian fund is 7%. And Korean fund is 7 to 8%. Even the Malaysian fund is returning about 6%. And our Singapore CPF is returning a miserable 2.5 to 4%. So at a first glance, our CPF returns look terrible, right? The number seems to tell us an unambiguous and categorically clear story of underperformance. But when I dive in the details, I saw the reason why. So it's very easy to conclude that our CPF system is very bad in terms of returns, and certainly Singapore has fallen behind. But the conclusion is actually wrong because we're actually comparing different systems because the underlying systems are different. So what I did was I went deep into the numbers and look at the year-by-year returns and take a look at the patterns. So instead of just looking at average over 10 years, I look at year-on-year returns and suddenly everything became very clear and I'll show you and you understand why. So with very interesting yearly data breakdowns, is a very simple thing to see why. There are good years and bad years in other systems. So let me take a look at the US system. This is a Californian system. It's called a California Public Employee Retirement System. It's not quite the same as our CPF, but it's a good benchmark to tell you. So some years is 2.4, some years is 0.6 in 2016, and then it went to 11%, 6%, 8%. And some years, 2022, that was a great inflation crash, was -6, right? 2021 is 21%. Of course, the average is better than CPF one, but it has got ups and downs, which the question is, can you accept it, right? So the next one is the Canadian system. Some years is 18%, some years -2, then went to 11, 11, 8, negative 0.1, 20, -8, 6, and 9.9. So it went up and down, up and down, up and down. question is, can you accept this kind of returns, right? So the annualized is 9.3, much higher than Singapore returns. Then ask yourself whether you can accept this. The Australian system, something similar, 2015, 15, then it dropped to 1, then 10, then 8, then 7.5, then 2. 23, negative 3.7, 8, and 6.7. Some years high, some years low. Clearly, the average is better, is at 8%, but this clearly is investment returns. Norwegian system, I think the world take pride in the Norwegian system. And the Norwegian system, same thing, 2.7%, 6.9, 13, negative 6, 20%, 10%, 14, negative 14%. Walao, negative 14, Whatever they gained in the previous year all got wiped out. And then return 16. This year, I think is, 2024, I think it's about approximately 15. We don't know the latest. I think it'll be positive as well. So, you see up, down, up. This one got even bigger volatility. The Japanese system, let's take a look. The Japanese system annualized over last year is about 6%. Even the Japanese system in negative 3, 5, 6, 1, negative 5 suddenly shoot to 23, then drop to 5, 1, 21. Wow, this one huge volatility, right? 20% drop to 0 to 1 and up, down, up, down, up, down. That's their government pension system. The Malaysian system is quite interesting. They have a return about 5.9%. But interestingly, if you take a look at the non-Sharia funds, they are generally well above 5% consistently. Yes, there are fluctuation, but their fluctuation are not so severe if you take a look at the last 10 years. So for all the countries I've looked at, including Singapore, actually, if you take account of volatility, actually the Malaysian EPF system is the best system. Okay, I know the Malaysians have a lot of trust issue in your own government system, but the truth of the matter is that your system is returning 5%. Singaporeans will be drooling to have this kind of returns that are so stable, and that's despite it having risk, right? So it's too good to be true. So I probed it to find the historical numbers all the way back, and this is what I found. So from 1995 onwards, it was a high of 9.5%, and it slowly dropped, sometimes to 6, 5. Even the dot-com bust of 2001 is still returned 5%. That's amazing. I don't know how you do that, right? And then you have a 4. I suspect that quite a lot of funds are in Petronas or something like that. I don't know, where oil money just simply can't lose money, right? I don't know what's behind the EPF, but the EPF is amazing, right? So for Malaysian, they are sitting on a gold mine without appreciating this. I think there's a lot of Singaporeans who would love to be able to put money into EPF to yield this kind of return. And since 2005, it has been pretty stable at 5-6% all the way to 2014, and the returns are consistently high at 5 to 6%. I have a chance, I recall, to meet the EPF head, rather the retired head. I can't remember this Tan series name or Dato series name, but when I spoke to him, clearly he knows how to manage funds, without a doubt. So, wow, this is an insane return. So, Malaysian, please have respect of your own EPF system. Think about it. The EPF system survived Asia financial crisis, global financial crisis, so many change of prime ministers, plus 1MDB saga, and it still return all this consistent return. Right? So it is a pension system that stood the test of fire and time. So I don't know. I don't receive any marketing dollar from the EPF system. I just want to say that your EPF system is really, really very good. I think you should pay more respect to the EPF system. Back to taking a step back and look at the whole thing. Oh, it's very simple to understand why other countries' system can give such great returns, because they are essentially investment returns. Okay, and where the Singapore system is quite different. So the other country system, basically it is linked to investment returns, so there could be big swings towards negative during crisis period and deep losses during inflation period. Can you accept that as Singaporeans, right? From what I know of Singaporeans, most Singaporeans are very reluctant to take losses. So taking a look at CPF system, there is almost no volatility. Okay, the 2.5% is enshrined in the Constitution of Singapore law, so it will be fixed there, right? Very stable, no risk. Okay, and if you take a look at the 4%, there is some changes. Okay, more to the up, more towards the upside. Recent years there's some minor up increase, not a lot, but it just show that that is very stable. So never a loss regardless of the market condition, and the return stood strong in the crash of 2001, the dot-com bubble burst, 2008 global financial crisis, 2020 COVID crash, 2022 the great inflation. Nothing happened to our returns. Okay, in fact, I think in 2022-23, the the special account actually went up by a little bit. So more or less, they are guaranteed floor. It's got the Singapore government backing, right? So I actually think that we are actually looking at two different types of asset class, right? More or less, one is guaranteed bond-like return, and one of it is investment return. So in a nutshell, if you step back, it's actually comparing apples and oranges. So other countries are investment return, market-driven outcomes, and I suspect that they're all run by professional funds, global asset allocation, and most of the people are tuned to volatility, and the returns will vary year by year, where the CPF system is a guaranteed system, government-backed, stable, outcome is predictable. The retirees have no fear of the outcome, in the sense that you know that if you put this sum of money inside the special account, the ordinary account, you will always get this return. So it's predictable. So the trade-off really is every country system have to make a fundamental choice. There's no free lunch in finance. Do you want higher returns? And it must come with higher risk. You want lower risk? It must come with lower returns. So, which is the choice that you want? So many countries in the world chose higher returns in exchange for higher risk. But in the case of Singapore, we decided to choose a more stable return in exchange for no risk, right? So this is a design outcome, not a failure. Of course, you can always argue that can you give 1% more, half a percent more, maybe 2% more? Of course, right? We can always ask the government to give more. But the truth of the matter is that the returns are what they are because we have chosen to have stable returns. Why Singapore chose stability? Well, the government is rich and able to protect the population, right? So in short, the government underwrites the risk and protects the population from volatility. And as a result, there are no panic during crisis. Okay. As a result, the retirees, the people who are receiving a stream of CPF life payment, you can be very rest assured and stable and confidently have all these returns. And as a result, you can have social stability in exchange for this financial stability as well. So I think that there's no right or wrong. There's no best system. You can't have, in some sense, the best of both worlds. It's either left or right. You can't be in the middle on this. So now that I've looked into the details, so is a CPF having bad returns? Well, no lah, it's not so bad. In fact, it's very good. Okay, I actually prefer a stable 4% return. I super like the retirement account. I super like the idea that I can beef up my ERS and in exchange for insanely high CPF life payments. So this is what the system is designed to do. So this is a retirement safety net, right? This is not a performance. This is not a performance fund. This is not an investment. So this is meant to serve its purpose. So it's a wrong question to ask why is CPF return so bad. But the right question is, should CPF be your only stability engine? Can there be other areas of growth? The answer is, of course. So I have got two ideas. Number one is, can the CPF break up our funds or create an option for a CPF run offspring fund? Not replacing the current CPF, but a voluntary CPF run investment fund they allow people to invest, right? So in short, there's a new account, right? Not just OA, SA, MA, and RA, but maybe an IA investment account where the government underwrites certain features of this system, right? That the private sector cannot give. What it is really something that closer to government. Government undertake a little bit of risk, but allow people in the country to participate in market-linked returns. Well, why does this make sense? Because CPF board already have some trust. We have got scale, and Singaporeans are already saving compulsory, and I think a lot of the younger Singaporeans can tolerate some risk. So this new choice, I think, might be an option to consider. Now, this is where I also want to say, hey, why do we need to count on the government? Why can't we invest OA ourselves, right? Invest ourselves. Well, you can, right? I done that, right? If you take a look at this is a screenshot from Endowers. I think I showed some of you before. This is my CPF statement. Yeah, it sounds like bragging, but I just want to tell you that you can do it yourself. I threw all into S&P 500, right? And returns 87%, right? 87%, it basically almost double over four years plus. And look at the annualized rate of return, 14.8%. Not bad, not bad. Not as high as the Norwegian fund or the Korean fund, but this is pretty good as well. So actually, maybe the question is, maybe we don't need the government to run it for us. Just do it ourselves, right? Okay. So would you want to do that, right? Food for thought. In closing, I think the CPF has done its job. Okay. Yes, they could create a investment fund for us to put our money in, or it's maybe up to you to expand your returns, right, yourself. So whether risk or no risk, already today we can undertake that decision ourselves. So is CPF a good fund? I think it is for myself. Okay, I'm sure everybody wants high returns, so do I. But higher returns simply means higher risk, and we prepared to accept that. Okay, food for thought. Let me hear your views. Okay, and by the way, I'm doing a whole series on crash buying. I'll be deleting the video soon. Yesterday was a very good video that I think everybody to watch should watch in the live stream. I've recorded down already. I'll be taking out soon. It's a must watch, so please watch it. Okay. With this, thank you, and I'll see you in a day or two. Bye bye.